A lot to talk about here on the San Francisco 49ers Report. Chase Sr. here with you. Thanks for tuning in on this beautiful Tuesday. Here's what's coming up. Will the Niners sign Justin Tucker after that Eddy Pineiro injury? A good sign on defense for this Niners team moving forward with some young players. Did the 49ers listen to me? And did the Niners watch this show? Brian Baldinger talking about Brock Purdy's return to the lineup on Sunday. And will Brandon Aiyuk play this year? We're diving into all of that. But I do want to begin here. This is crazy. I had a bunch of Seahawks fans reach out. They're all in my DMs, and they're saying, Chase, you will not pick up 100 subscribers on this video. You're a fraud, and the faithful full of a bunch of phonies. And I said, you know what? We're going to prove you all wrong. Niner fans over Seahawk fans any day. F Seattle, hit that sub button. And if you want elite Niners coverage every single day year round, lock us in and join the movement today. All right, as we know, the 49ers have a kicker problem. Even with San Francisco, they're so injured that their star kicker, who's been incredibly clutch this year, cannot even stay healthy. Eddy Pineiro, injured on Sunday against Arizona, couldn't finish the game. And Kyle Shanahan said on Monday he has a grade 1 hamstring strain and he's going to miss some time. Big loss for San Francisco considering how great he's been after how disastrous Jake Moody was in a Niners uniform the last 2 years. Pineiro, literally perfect on his field goal makes and attempts this season. So he replaces Moody after week 1 when Moody just had a disastrous performance on the road against Seattle. Niners finally cut ties. They stopped trying to justify using a third-round pick on him. They add Pineiro, and he was a top 5 most accurate kicker in the history of football before the Niners signed him. Now he is a top 3 most accurate kicker in the history of football. And right from the jump, when the Niners played in that week 2 game against the Saints, Eddy Pineiro started drilling kicks left and right. Now, he's missed some PATs, but for his field goal attempts, 4 of 4 from 20 to 29 yards, 4 of 4 from 30 to 39 yards, 8 of 8 on kicks of 40 to 49 yards, and on kicks north of 50, he is 6 of 6. That is a perfect 22 of 22 this season. And so the 49ers plan now is to try out kickers this week, especially today and tomorrow, to get that kicker acclimated, ready with the special teams unit, going into Monday Night Football against the Carolina Panthers. And of course, the Niners are going to sign a kicker while Eddy Pineiro is hurt. Hopefully, it's not to a point where Pineiro goes on injured reserve. Hopefully, he's just out a week, maybe 2, not that full 4-week IR stint. Which brings me to this. This is a little bit controversial, but could the Niners sign kicker Justin Tucker? He's eligible to sign with the team after serving his 10-game suspension. Of course, a lot of people might be wondering, Chase, why was Justin Tucker suspended? Well, I said off the rip, this would be a controversial move, and here is why. Allegations into sexually inappropriate behavior toward at least 16 women. These incidents reportedly occurred between 2012 and 2016. And not only was Justin Tucker bad last year, but then these allegations started to surface, and so the Ravens cut bait, and they moved on from him in May, and that was a difficult decision. He had become a pillar of that organization and literally one of the best kickers in the history of the NFL. I know that kicker is a need for this football team, and everybody is scared that after Pineiro had been so great that the Niners could revert back to Jake Moody types of territories, right? But there is too much baggage here to add Justin Tucker to this team. Now, he is a 6-time All-Pro. He has made it to 7 Pro Bowls. He was a member of the 2010s All-Decade team. He has the highest field goal percentage in NFL history, the most kicks in NFL history of 50-plus yards. He also has a really strong leg and accurate from 60-plus. He has the most 60-plus yard kicks in the history of the NFL. And I would imagine at some point here over the next few years, Brandon Aubrey of the Cowboys will take down that record. But Justin Tucker had been a very special kicker. And he's still, I think, only 36 years old. And so with the Niners needing a kicker, this is a big name. But I'm not willing to add a player to the roster who would come to the Niners with this much weight And I think the Niners are a smart organization, and they know that. But good work by Matt Mayoko of NBC Sports Bay Area to ask Kyle Shanahan about this. Have you guys talked about the possibility of bringing in Justin Tucker for a workout? Shanahan said, no, we haven't talked about that. Mayoko, does that mean he's not coming in? Shanahan, I have no idea. We haven't talked about it. I haven't talked about one kicker with them, so I'm not sure about anyone. I know they're putting together a group of guys to possibly bring in Tuesday, recording this on Tuesday, by the way, or Wednesday. So with that, let's pop up today's poll question. Should the Niners sign Justin Tucker? S for sign, P for pass. Share your thoughts with me down in the comment section. We talked about this after Moody was let go, and my opinions on this have not changed. A good sign for this Niners defense moving forward is that the defense improved vastly against the run week over week from the Rams game to the Cardinals game. Now, why is stopping the run for this defense important? Well, first of all, San Francisco cannot generate a pass rush. Their back seven had really been struggling. Their linebackers have not covered well, especially after the injury to Fred Warner. Tatum Bethune has been a tackling machine, but as I told you, after the Warner injury, he's not stellar in coverage because he's not an elite athlete. The safety play for San Francisco hasn't been great. Robert Saleh doesn't have a lot to work with as far as parts on the defensive side of the ball, doesn't have a lot of ingredients to cook with as the defensive coordinator. But when you stop the run, obviously, it can help a couple of key areas, right? You're able to control the clock more. When a team runs the ball so often, they eat up clock. It keeps your offense on the sideline, which in turn messes with offensive flow, offensive rhythm. And you just lose control of the game when another team is able to consistently run the ball and it wears your defense down. And so, yes, the Niners did give up 488 yards of offense against Arizona. Good for 6.9 yards per play. It's not like the Cardinals were that efficient, and these numbers were skewed because they were in a 2-touchdown deficit right away at the start of this game. But for the Niners defense, 14 carries, 36 yards, 2.6 yards per carry. They're not going to hold opponents to that number all year, but it is a positive step in the right direction. And something that I've been really wanting to see is the Niners to stop playing all these veterans so much who aren't going to help you in the future. And if you're going to build for the future, see what you have with these young players. Give them snaps, give them reps so that they can learn, so that they can make mistakes and learn from them, but most importantly, so that they can develop. And on Sunday, we saw a lot of snaps that were productive from CJ West, your 4th-round pick out of Indiana, and Alfred Collins, your 2nd-round pick out of Texas. And I had talked about this so much. The Niners clearly had a plan going into the draft that they wanted to improve a porous run defense, which has really hurt them the last couple of years. Mykel Williams, good run defender and edge setter. Alfred Collins, run stuffer at 6'5", 330. CJ West, violent hands. He has a history of being good against the run. And so CJ West and Alfred Collins here were immovable objects, very difficult to move off their spot in Sunday's game against Arizona. And you look at a play like this play is designed to go up the middle or to the left. The back has to bounce it to the right, and the Niners defense able to converge and sprint to the ball. Another play here where Alfred Collins, with the burst at 6'5", 330 and the strength to burst through the line of scrimmage, and then CJ West is able to get to his left, and he's able to help disrupt this play and get to the ball carrier. I really want to see more of that from these young players, and they need the reps in order to be able to make plays like this. Still to come here on the show, did the Niners listen to me? Brian Baldinger on Brock Purdy. Will Brandon Aiyuk play this year? It's coming up just around the corner. But let's get to our sponsor, our friends at Brunt, making today's San Francisco 49ers report possible. Choosing work boots used to mean sacrificing comfort or durability. If they felt good, they didn't last. And if they lasted, they wrecked your feet. Brunt thought that was BS. So they built tough boots that feel great from day one. No break-in, no sore feet, because people out there doing the real work shouldn't have to choose between comfort or durability. Founder Eric Gerard grew up blue collar. He started Brunt Workwear after his friends in the trades kept telling him, Eric, the big brands, they had stopped listening and they had not changed. in 100 years. They had sold out to become fashion brands. His buddies encouraged him to start a brand built for them, and that's why all Brunt products are named after the guys he grew up with. Real hardworking tradesmen. Now, I love talking Niners football. I love covering the NFL, and you might say, Chase, you're in front of the camera, and you don't like gritty jobs. Growing up, I loved gritty jobs. I still do. Woodworking, one of my favorite hobbies, and so that's why I love my Marin Brunt work boots. They are comfortable and they are durable. So with the holiday season coming up, with temperatures dropping, holidays nearing, it's time to treat yourself or the hardworking man in your life to real comfort. Skip the throwaway gifts. Get them or yourself something built to last. Brunt Workwear. Our listeners get $10 off their entire order when you go to bruntworkwear.com/chat. That's bruntworkwear.com/chat. Use the code chat, order today, and let them know you heard about Brunt right here on the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. All right, let's move forward here on the show. Did the 49ers listen to me? Did the Niners watch this show? They'd be wise to do so because I know ball here on the program. Come on now. But last week, I had said, if you're going to build for the future, and if you're not going to make a move at the NFL trade deadline because you want to keep your picks for future years, why not play your young players to build for the future? And if you're going to allow cornerback Upton Stout to make some mistakes and live with the good, live with the bad, why not do the same with a player like Nick Martin, who inevitably, like he did in the preseason, is going to have some mistakes, but he's going to make some wow plays because this guy is an elite athlete, and I think over time he can become a legitimate player for a Niners organization that does a great job of drafting and developing linebackers. Luke Gifford is a special teamer. I know he played a little bit better against Arizona. He's not a building block for this team. You used a third-round pick on Nick Martin, and he has special ability. Get him on the field. Well, the Niners did that against the Cardinals, and what happened? Nick Martin played 14 total snaps against Arizona, made the most of those reps, had 7 tackles, 5 solo, and he played with force and fire. Number 45, especially with the injury to Tatum Bethune, going to play more. He's going to make some mistakes. You live with that because he can make some pop plays. As for Brock Purdy, I thought Brock Purdy played really well on Sunday. I was very impressed. He was efficient. He was accurate. Most importantly, he moved around pretty well on that bad turf toe. 19 of 26, 200 yards, only had 7 incompletions, 10.5 yards per completion, 3 tutties, no picks, and a quarterback rating of 133.5. Obviously, we value the opinion of Brian Baldinger, and he said this about Purdy. Rust? What kind of rust? There was no rust. He was amazing. The way he saw the field, his eyes, his touch, everything was there like he never went away. It was like he was there for the first 10 weeks of the year. It was amazing to watch. I agree. And that was one of my takeaways too. Not a lot of rust, sees the field so well, and he throws with great touch as evidenced by the 30-yard dime of a touchdown to George Kittle. Brandon Aiyuk, we talked about him last week. Will Aiyuk play this year? The Niners did not open up his practice window, and I think there's a realistic chance he doesn't play this year, but does he ever play again for the 49ers? Coach Yak transcribed this from the Matt Mayoko Overreactions article on NBC Sports Bay Area, and here's how it went. With how the offense looked, there is no need for Aiyuk, said a commenter. He will never be seen in a Niner uniform again. Mayoko, overreaction? No. Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have not closed the door on Aiyuk's return this year. Their comments always seem to lean a little more on the positive side, but it appears as if they also realize Aiyuk might not step on the field this season. If Aiyuk returns off the PUP list and is able to play at a high level, that's found money. Whether they need him or not is a good discussion point. Right now, the Niners have Jennings, Pearsall, Kendrick Bourne, to Marcus Robinson as their top 4 wideouts. As for the future, Aiyuk is under contract through the 2028 season after signing a 4-year, $120 million extension before last year. But as we've learned with lucrative long-term contracts in the NFL, there are no absolutes there either. That is why just about anything seems possible at this point. Nothing really surprises me at this point either. If Aiyuk returns this year, great. He tore 3 ligaments in his knee. Hopefully he can return back to the form of being one of the top wide receivers in the game, which is what he was prior to the 2024 season. If he gets traded, Wouldn't be surprised either. The Niners could reset financially at wide receiver, maybe draft another one. I think they're going to let go of Jawan Jennings after this year because he's going to outprice himself. But you do have Ricky Pearsall, Jacob Cowing, Jordan Watkins, and DeMarcus Robinson under contract for next year. Then that's where that draftee would play a role. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll be back later with another edition of the San Francisco 49ers Report. San Francisco, we out.